Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today joining us with master fitter Sam Smith, and we're going to be looking at the Titleist GT280 mini driver.
Yeah, it's obviously just come out, not been out long. Yeah, keen to see what it's like.
Yeah, we're going to do some testing on this one. Let's get stuck in.
Yeah.
So we're going to hit a couple of balls each on this first hole. We've got the launch mode, so we're going to have a look at the numbers. But I think first things first, let's talk about the looks of the club, because for me that's the smallest profile mini driver I've ever held.
Yeah, it's obviously 280cc. You know what my name suggests. So yeah, obviously a lot of other brands are kind of like 300 to 320 normally.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a little bit smaller. Yeah, it definitely looks more like an oversized fairway than more a mini driver.
It's a very traditional looking head. I mean, there's not much going on, is there? A little bit of a GT at the top.
Yeah.
Obviously, I do like that actually. It's almost like
grooves.
a two-wood, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the grooves all the way across the face, and the GT. So it's quite traditional looking, but that's Titleist it's all over, isn't it? You know, that's
definitely
what they sort of do. So I'm just going to aim up that left-hand side and get a little bit of cut. Oh, that's a lovely ball flight. So 249, spin 26, ball speed's down, because we've done some testing with other sort of mini drivers, say 143. Is that due to the CC potentially? Or?
Loft as well.
Yeah.
So obviously we only do one loft at 13. They use the fairway adapter as like the adjustability, not the driver. So again, it can go down 3/4 of a degree, up 1.5, 2 weight ports as well. But yeah, it's definitely not, I think, going to be as hot as other brands.
Yeah.
You know, from testing I've done as well, I've definitely found that definitely doesn't go as far as, like, say, my TaylorMade I've got.
Yeah.
So, but again, it depends on what you want it for. If you want it for like replacing your 3-wood.
Just to add a bit of context, you've nicked my ball, haven't you? I'm sure you've nicked my Strixon. Where have I put that Strixon then? I'd have only hit one, hadn't I?
You only hit one shot.
Just to add a bit of context, TaylorMade, we've probably hit 2 dozen balls with each. I was getting about 153, so it's about 10 miles per hour quicker. So I'd anticipate if you're looking for a mini driver for off the tee and distance, then this potentially might not be the one. It's a carbon copy.
Yeah, sure.
So 247, a little bit better ball speed, 148. So even though I felt that were quite forgiving, what I would say is if you're a higher handicap golfer, it is a smaller profile ahead. So there could be better alternatives out there, you know, a bigger profile mini driver.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, yeah, you can get this even more forgiving, you know, knock it up to 14.5, weight it back. And, you know, I think the size of a head, it could help a lot with confidence, like off the deck for people. They might prefer it to like a 3-wood as well. Yeah, definitely not got that mini driver kind of look to it. It definitely looks more closer to fairway wood than.
It reminds me of like a 2-wood as such, you know, like an old-fashioned 2-wood.
They might have missed the mark as well, you know, because obviously like TaylorMade just done the R7 quad and been a bit more nostalgic.
Yeah.
They could have done like a 975D or something.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a big seller.
Yeah.
But obviously, we just kept it in range of a GT. So yeah, let's see what it's like.
Lovely shot.
Caught in a bit, but it's all right. Yeah, just ball speed's definitely a little bit down. So 146.4. That's some testing earlier. You know, other mini driver was like 153, 154. But obviously, again, that was a bit of a stronger loft. So that's going to have a big impact as well.
I know we've not hit any balls. We test a lot of products. I'm already starting to feel like this is more of a giant 3-wood. I bet when we test this off the fairway, it might be quite easy to hit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try one now. Let me open off the deck. See if I can get a good line.
You know, having just sort of come off back of testing that R7, which we're going sort of 270 off tee, it's just, I found that more difficult to hit off the fairway. I think this could be more versatile. You know, it's a bit of a sort of giant 3-wood rather than a driver replacement. Wow. That's a lovely shot.
Bit of a cut. Winds took it to
and into that wind, Sam, I don't think you would hit a 3-wood 244.
No.
Not carry into that wind.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't too bad. again, launch was only 10.9. I think the wind's exaggerated a bit in terms of
Yeah.
what the flight was. But yeah, that felt easier to get the ball up in the air than when we were testing the R7
I'm
earlier.
just going to get a ball myself.
You know, I've got, like I said, TSR driver, so, you know, I've seen this was due to come out for quite a while, but for me, it's not gone in the bag because I've lost too much distance, really. I had a TaylorMade burner before.
Yeah.
And it was always kind of like that mid-150s, and then as soon as I've gone to this, because the loft's a bit weaker than what I had in the TaylorMade, it just, ball speed dropped off too much. And again, that's kind of proved it there. But again, in your case, it's probably a bit more appealing. Yeah, shot. Good strike.
249. For
Yeah.
me, that's definitely could be combined as more of a fairway wood, like a giant fairway wood for the fairway, and then something that's quite strong off the tee, but you still need your driver.
Yeah, I don't think that's a driver replacement. I don't think it's hot enough to be a driver replacement.
Yeah.
And again, obviously, yeah, that can be made even more forgiving.
Could we set it up then? Because we initially came into this video thinking, shall we put it in its most forgiving option? I think we should put it in its most strong driver option, see what distance we could get.
Yeah.
Because at the minute, how is it playing? Is it standard 13 degrees?
Yeah, let me grab me wrench and we'll see what the weights are. So yeah, let's go D1. So that's going to knock it down 3/4 of a degree.
I'm just thinking like where it would fit in my bag personally, and I think for me it would have to be a 3-wood replacement. You know, I just feel like I certainly couldn't take my driver out of the bag.
No. Yeah, it's definitely not as hot as other mini drivers I've tested ball speed wise, but again, it can be down to loft. But in fairness, when I've tried with PXG, you know, Secret Weapon, and obviously you've got it at 13, definitely still a bit hot off the face than this.
Yeah.
But it kind of sums up Titleist in a way. You know, they are more traditional, but precise. They're not designed. Yeah, they don't want to be, you know, standing out there in terms of like hitting absolutely miles. So 11 in the front that was. I think it's already had the heavy weight in the front. 3 gram in the back.
So what you done? Just lofted it down.
So we just lofted it down.
And what's it gone to? What's its lowest loft?
12 1/4.
From 13.
Yeah, so it can only go down 3/4 degrees. So
yeah.
it's not, you can't get it like super strong. You can definitely go a bit more forgiving than kind of strong, I'd say.
I mean, I reckon we should hit a couple of balls. Let's see what we could get out of it.
Yeah, see if we can get
potentially interested in that. And then if you did want to go the opposite and loft it up, is it 3/4 of a degree?
They go 1.5 up. So we can go 14.5, and then we can obviously go weight at the back.
It's screaming out to me as a giant 3-wood.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not as.
Do you think they've just used mini driver as or are they using mini driver as marketing?
Good point.
Because basically, mini driver's hot topic. Isn't it? Everybody. That's where I think Ping went wrong a few years ago. You know when they launched their Rapture V2, I think they called it. What did they call it? A Rapture. They didn't call it mini driver, and I thought it was a fantastic club. It was a Rapture V2. It was like a giant.
Yeah, I know which one you mean.
And that would have done fantastic because that would have been the first ever mini driver. But they didn't market it as being a mini driver. Are these marketing this as a mini driver?
I meant again. I've just looked at my Titleist sticker. It doesn't say, but then on the sticker I got the club from, it does say mini driver. So hard to say. I don't think they're screaming that it's a mini driver.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people know that it's in that category.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, let's hit a couple. Just, you know, knocking loft down.
As much as we've talked about it not being a mini driver, to be fair, I've not had a bad shot with it yet. Maybe a club I'm looking for.
Yeah.
How much do you want for it, Sam?
Let's just say again, yeah, retail, I think 479, I believe. So it is definitely a higher end for the mini driver category.
And do you know what? That were a miss it.
Yeah,
a
little bit further, a bit leaky, but yeah, went a touch higher.
Yeah, I think I've kind of not hit that so well.
Yeah. What was ball speed?
It were a sort of bit more cutty.
148, maybe up a tad.
Just gonna hit one more because I think for that to maintain that distance on a higher sort of cut, I think if I do get a good one, it will go a bit further. That were a good shot.
260 yards.
Yeah,
a little bit further.
Yeah, I've gone further.
I mean, ball speed up to 150, which was my quickest with this.
Yeah, launch went up. Yeah, I'd say definitely a bit hot off face.
I know obviously it's not a comparison against TaylorMade, but when we've just done a review on it, it's hard not to comment, is that it were consistently like 154,
Yeah.
That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, we were kind of like, I was about 154 with the R7.
And that was 305cc, so that extra 25cc does make a difference.
Yeah, well, like that, I think loft as well. Like I said, because the starting loft was a bit stronger.
Yeah.
So that's going to help get that speed. Let me have a go with one.
Lovely strike.
A little bit bottom.
243 yards.
It's similar to me. I did miss it a tad. But yeah, for me, it's just definitely just not as quick as it can be, you know, for what I'm looking for as like a mini driver.
Yeah.
Not saying it's bad at all, but for me, because I naturally hit it high, I need a bit of a stronger loft.
Yeah.
Which, that's where, obviously, we do limit themselves a little bit, just having one loft option, where, you know, a couple of us like Callaway and TaylorMade, they do 2 loft options. But yeah, I think definitely works better for you than me, I'd say.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to say, Sam, that club's not for you, but you don't mean it's not for everyone. Who would you anticipate that club suiting?
I think, yeah, someone who wants it more as a fairway replacement, not a driver.
Yeah.
Like for me, I want it more towards getting closer to drive, a bit more penetrate and fly. Yeah, I just, again, I gave it a little bit of a chance. You know, I tried different shaft, a couple of different shaft options, but I just couldn't get it to work, sadly. But then, I went back to the R7, gave that a go, and a lot better for me personally.
I could definitely see this in my bag, you know. I didn't come into this vlog thinking that this could go in my bag, but the way I see it is I'm hitting my driver fantastic at the minute.
Yeah.
I don't really need a mini driver. It's too close to my driver. It's only 10 yards short.
Yeah.
Where I think fairway wood-wise, I carry a 3 wood, and I think sometimes it balloons up a little bit too much for tee.
Yeah.
And I don't really hit many 3 woods into par 5, so I'm seeing it as it would be okay to off a par 5 because it's only probably 10-15 yards longer than my 3 wood. But I think off the tee, it'd be a great giant 3 wood to have, basically.
Yeah,
like
100%.
a 3 wood on roids.
Yeah, definitely in the right hands, it would be a great club. But yeah, it's just making sure that it's going to be best for you. But you definitely there's enough options now to try a few options and get fit and see what works best.
Well, Titleist might not like me saying this, but I don't see it as a mini driver. I see it as a giant fairway wood, and one that if you struggle with 3 woods, I think definitely a good option to look at.
Yeah.
To have a bigger profile 3 wood and something that you can use to the fairway and the tee.
Yeah, definitely.
Guys, hope you've enjoyed that video. A little bit of an insight into the new GT280 giant 3 wood.
Basically, yeah.
I hope you're enjoying the videos, guys. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Check Sam out for all your fitting needs. They're the best fitter in their area. And let's get to 50k. Hit that subscribe button and we'll see you in a couple of days' time. Bye.